John,
Hey,
you all set up?
yeah, can you see me okay?
Can't see you at all.
All right, hold on a second.
Hey,
There we go. Is that better?
that's fantastic.
Okay.
Although the top of your head is chopped off.
All right, hold on a second.
There he is.
Is that better?
Yes, sir.
All right, give me a second. Let me go close my door.
I see we both shaved today.
Did what?
I see we both shaved for the occasion.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to hang with all the millennials out there and the Gen Zers with the stubble and all that.
And I just found out the other day that I'm not a baby boomer generation.
So you're, see, you were what,
57.
57. So
Jones.
so what would you be considered?
Jones. The Jones generation.
I've never heard that term before.
I didn't hear of it until about 2 weeks ago. And
Okay.
basically, it's more about that boomers. Most of your boomers should have been classified as having a parent involved or age for World War II.
Okay.
So I guess they come up with this new thing, the Jones. And the Jones is supposed to be, I looked it up on Wikipedia, it is more of the competitive generation or keeping up with the Joneses, and that our generation was grown up with TV, whereas the boomers weren't grown up with TV, they were grown up with radio.
So what is the cutoff for the baby boomers? What year is the cutoff?
55, well, 55.
Okay, so then 55 to,
64.
okay, so my generation would be considered what,
When were you born?
68.
Aren't you Gen X?
No, that would be Gen X,
You're not millennial.
not millennial.
You're missing.
Yeah, that's pretty much, we're that missing generation.
Yeah. All right. So I got this recording and I can edit just to like when we open up,
Okay,
and bear with me. This is only my second one.
sure,
So I'm
no
going to
worries.
try and limit the ums and the ahs and the, oh my God. So I guess
You're gonna try to tighten it up.
I'm going to try to tighten it up. Right.
Well, I just want to point out that if you see over my right shoulder, which would, if that's what you see that picture in the back? That is the Jacksonville Jaguars' newest tight end. That would be Mr. Tim Tebow.
No way.
Yeah,
No shit.
that's Timmy.
Wow. We'll have to talk about that once we start the meeting.
There we go. There we go.
All right, so I'm going to go and I've now learned, because of editing, I should do a countdown. It makes me edit it out a little bit better. We're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, everyone, I'm here with John Anderson today. And John Anderson has been a Print for Pay Hotel member for as long as I can remember. And we're going to talk a little bit about the industry. And first of all, John, I'd like to thank you very, very much for giving us your time today.
Absolutely.
And, if you could tell us a little bit about your current position.
I am in major account, commercial and major account sales in North Central Florida. I've been selling the Rico product line for, good Lord, 27 years.
Whoa.
And also currently we do Canon, Rico, KIP, Lexmark, and Kyocera. Been doing wide formats. First school I went to was at Rico School up in Atlanta in 1995. and that was a wide format school back in the analog days. So I've been working with wide format almost since I've been in this industry.
Right, so pretty much Mr. Wide Format. Just so everyone knows, when I get stuck with a wide format question, I go to this guy, John. So John's been doing wide format just as long as I've been doing it. And we have a tendency to call each other and kick a lot of stuff back and forth to help us out. So John, what year did you start in the industry?
Technically, it was 1993 with a small dealership that was transitioning out of the typewriter business. And I was there for about a year and a half, and then I met an individual that owned a company that was fully into that type of RICO devices, and so I could really consider the start almost in 1995. So
Okay.
It was July 1, 1995.
Okay, and again, you represent Canon, Ricoh, and KIP, is that correct?
That's as far as the large format side goes. Canon, Ricoh, and KIP, yes.
And how about for copiers, MFPs?
That would be Ricoh, Ricoh Linear, Canon, Lexmark, Kyocera, and HP. We are an HP partner as
Okay,
well.
cool. So
We don't do, let me clarify, we don't do HP wide format. We've talked about it, but having KIP and Ricoh and Canon, we've kind of stayed out of that area, especially with Canon's new series, their new TZ 30,000 series, which gives us a little bit of an entry into that. But but again, with KIP, it's we cover all of our bases pretty much.
okay, so let's get into meetings in a post-pandemic world.
Mm-hmm.
Are you more in, since you've been through a year of remote meetings, are you more in favor of keeping those remote meetings or not so much?
I like meeting face to face. I always have. That's how I started in the business. I think that you can tell more from a client, from their needs, their where they're going, what they're looking for in a face to face meeting, or as my old boss used to say, belly to belly.
Right.
You get belly to belly with somebody. Now, I have no problem with a virtual meeting or Zoom, and I actually did one yesterday, Friday, and it was great. You sharing the screen. I just don't think you can get the same amount of information out to somebody virtually that you can in front of them.
I agree.
I think bigger impact, and
Yeah.
luckily we're opening up a little bit now for that purpose.
And I agree, being belly to belly, not only can you interact a little bit better being on site, but everything you can see while you're on site, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The forms, the paper, the machines, the devices. If everything is new and shiny, can tell you that they embrace technology, or if there's still a typewriter on the desk, and the desks are old and they've got old file cabinets. I mean, that could tell you a lot about a company when you're moving into that sales cycle.
Absolutely. Because when you go into an office, you look deep and wide. That's what your goal is. You can't do that from a video camera speaking with someone. You're only seeing that individual and what they're going to share with you at that time. Right. So by all means, if it's possible, every single time I would prefer to meet with somebody in person.
Right. So it is, and you're with Cecines, correct?
That is correct. Cecines, okay. Yep.
All right. And so is Cecines doing anything with IT services, content, or backup?
Absolutely. We have really branched out over the past year and a half. We're doing managed services, MSP. We're doing nice. Managed device services. Gotten into voice over IP phone systems, which is pretty big out there. And but yeah, managed services. I think you have to make those moves. If you don't, if you're simply selling copy machines or output devices, you're going to be in trouble down the road. And the way the industry is moving right now.
I agree. Do you, is there any sort of content software or backup that you specialize in?
Well, pretty DocuWare.
Okay,
That is that's our primary premier. We have other available document management systems or content management,
right.
but our primary is DocuWare. That's what we focus on.
Okay, cool. And you stated your focus is majors, correct?
Yeah, I'm listed as a major account representative, but I do a little bit of everything. From verticals, government,
Okay.
municipal, all of that. But that's my title, is major account rep.
Right. So your major account area is Central Florida, correct?
North Central Florida.
North Central Florida? Okay.
Yeah, it encompasses quite a bit of county area, but a lot of our counties are more rural in
Okay.
nature. Gainesville is the base, which we're out of.
Got it. And what county is it?
That is Alachua County.
Alachua? Must be
Alachua, Alachua.
Indian name?
I would guess it's pronounced Alachua. If you go to other towns, they'll say Alachua.
Okay.
But I live on Noonan's Lake east of town, and it's actually called Lake Pithlachoco. That's the Indian name. That is the actual Indian name.
Okay. Tongue tied.
Yes.
So how's the last 12 months been for you?
Whew. 2020 was tough. Everybody was, all the branches were down. As far as, our branches are Jacksonville, Daytona, Orlando, Tampa, and Gainesville. We are by far the smallest location.
Right.
And everyone was down. It was a tough year because the area that we're in, Alachua County, more serious about the pandemic, a lot more shutdowns, restrictions that were going on. So a good bit of the year, we literally were working from home. And there were no face-to-face meetings with clients. There were a few exceptions outside of the area into some smaller counties,
Right.
Where somebody wanted us to come out. But it was a tough year, definitely a tough year, probably down 30 to 40%
Got it.
in annual sales.
Got it. So how has the last 3 months been?
Picking up.
Good.
Things have definitely picked up with different types of clients, and not just specific industries. So I'm definitely seeing some opening up of things. 100%. It's gotten much better, like night and day compared to last year.
It's a little bit better here in Jersey, but during the last 3 months, I've seen a little, I don't know what it is. We all go through those cycles in sales. In the last 3 months have just been a little quirky, if to say, right? A lot of people just still holding on to decisions, dragging out their decision-making process, stuff like that. So with COVID-19, did you do anything differently to find net new clients than what you did, of course, pre-COVID?
Well, more email for
Right.
communication purposes, because most people were not even in their offices
Right.
in this area. So a lot more email and digital communication. There really wasn't much else you could do differently that was going to make a difference at that point. Budgets were put on hold. Unnecessary expenditures were not happening. Make do with what you got till we see where this goes.
Right.
So there were a few instances where good things happened, but for the most part, it was basically, we're going to hold off for now, and we'll revisit this, 3 months down the road, 6 months, 9 months. We tried different approaches, but for here in my area, not much else worked.
Okay, so in a post-COVID world, what's your thoughts about finding net new clients? Is it still email? Is it more knocking on doors? Is it more social media? What's been working for you?
Well, I think for, the doors are opening back up. However, there are still many locations that would prefer to do it over the phone or do it video based. They're just not ready to engage in person, but that is changing weekly right now. So I think we're getting back to a bar anything else happening, we're getting back more to a pre-COVID situation where we go back to the old techniques where we're, social media, obviously LinkedIn is probably my favorite to reach out to, scheduling, phone calls, emails, and still knocking on doors as we're required to do. But I find it less effective knocking on doors personally. I just don't see that you really get where you used to. I think decisions are made more on a different angle from the client, a different approach from the customer. I think a lot of it is done, ahead of time, versus knocking on a door and looking into a situation like we've all had happen. Yep. But the problem that I see, Art, with knocking on doors is not only me, but everybody else is knocking on doors, sending emails, making phone calls. So you get a glut of that happening and you turn people off to those processes. I've seen a lot of that. Everybody's getting beaten with a hammer by every salesperson out of every type of industry these days. Everybody's trying to come out of COVID, and this is what we all do. So I think that's made it more difficult for us personally, because we're at the end of the day, we're salespeople, consultants, just like the other industries are. And when you get that many calls every day, it kind of changes your perception or your openness, I believe. So
what's the answer in a post-COVID environment, or is there an answer at all?
That's the question. That's the question without an answer. I'm a big believer in trying to reach the C-level people in a company, the decision makers, and that's difficult. I think, again, you have to reinvent yourself. But how do you do that? How do you reinvent yourself? Because there's only so many ways to try to engage a current or a potential client that that is net new. How do you engage those people effectively today, post-COVID, versus the methods we know? Again, to me, LinkedIn has been valuable as far as reaching more decision level individuals, and I've been fortunate with that. Earlier this early part of the year, it's worked well for me.
Got it.
Phone calls and emails, man, not so much. Not so much.
So our post-COVID environment, would you agree it's pretty much going to be a work in progress?
Yes, that would be a good way to define it. It's work in progress.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch gears now, and we're going to move over to solutions. And I guess the question I have, is there any feature, app, or third-party solution that you're going to basically recommend to all your clients?
That's a broad question right there.
It is.
What would I recommend to all my clients?
It is.
I like PaperCut.
Right.
I think PaperCut is a great recommendation, not only from a cost standpoint, but from what it can do for most clients and their organizations. From the AEC industry to legal to medical, from a access point. So that would be something that I try to look for opportunities in every situation for that. That's as far as document management goes, or content management. Not everybody has that need, I would say, to that level of a DocuWare, but I think that most places you go into, there's some way that they can be helped with some type of content or storage system. You have to have a choice. You have to have a high level a medium level, and a low level. And right now with DocuWare, you're probably familiar with DocuWare, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So,
And it's more of a, I would consider it a higher end or a higher level from a cost standpoint. Not everybody is suited for that.
so when you're in with in a general meeting with a client, are you bringing up AR, AP, HR,
Yes.
workflows? Okay.
We bring that into the conversation at the right point. Obviously, if you're in a situation where I tell you recently, I was working with a law firm, and the conversation was upgrading the equipment, which we're in a good position to do. But I waited for the right opportunity. Then I asked questions about that, your accounts receivable, accounts payable process, your onboarding of hires, your HR department, bill back to clients. So we explored that with some open questions and really found out that paper cut was something that was very beneficial to them because of their manual recording process of prints, copies, faxes, scans, etc. So we were able to identify that, but that was after we had already qualified the upgrade with the equipment. We just approached it at the right moment.
Right.
And so it was good for them.
Nice. We're going to switch gears again. And how's the hardware issue been?
Well, that's great question. Our Canon lineup has become better as far as shipment. Others are not so much better at this point, depending on the device. A4s have become kind of tight, those devices.
Kind of tight, almost non-existent.
Well, I'll tell you, HPs are very difficult to get right now, depending on the model. Some of them are the back order dates are a month out, and that's subject to change.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So another question. How about MFP security? Are you having that come to Jesus moment with every client about security of their MFP?
It comes up. A lot of that will tie into again, when you're meeting with a client talking about managed services, you wait for the opportunity to come up, you ask that question. It does come up in terms of, with the recent, obviously, hacks or ransomware situations, depending on how they got in, who knows. But the question does come up. Normally, though, that would be a separate discussion with either an IT individual within a business or with an IT provider, managed services provider for that client. Most customers individually don't really know. They don't understand that. They know that there are vulnerabilities, but they think it's more in the internet side or through their own computers or what web pages they go on. They don't really think of the multifunctional devices or hardware as being a risk factor, but
they are.
They are, and companies like Canon with McAfee built into the devices now is a help. HP has quite a bit of security in their devices, but really everybody has changed the security level and the type of whether it's embedded software or functionality. Everyone has changed the MFPs, every manufacturer, right, to accommodating to that as far as a risk goes. So.
And I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead, please.
And I guess maybe the simplest thing to do is show a couple of the HP Wolf videos, and clients can understand how simply an email told to print can get access to the printer and get somebody in behind the firewall.
Absolutely, it's an interesting video. I've shown it to a couple of people only, but it brings up a question, and that's usually where, well, we want you to talk to so-and-so in IT then. And then I have the ability to, when those questions come up, I know enough to get myself in trouble. So I basically engage one of our IT folks within our company and let them speak on that level with their counterpart, and they can work on that process. I think it's good to have that. I think as salespeople, we have a great amount of knowledge, but a lot of the knowledge we have is a generalized knowledge. We know a little bit about a lot and a lot about a few things. And I think having the right people within your team makes a big difference in these situations. So yeah, it comes up, but I usually put IT with IT and let them figure that out.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go back to post-pandemic. You think we're going to see more of a, and I think you might have partially answered this in a previous question, but more of a hybrid for salespeople, a hybrid virtual, or a first meeting on site, and then additional meetings all virtual?
I think that would be a great plan. I think the initial meeting, you need to see somebody face to face. You need to shake a hand,
Belly
bump a
to
fist,
belly.
elbow, absolutely. But post that process, after you've had the opportunity to look, as I say, deep and wide in an account,
Right.
and see what the needs or possibilities may be for that client, then I think once you've identified that, most information can be shared virtually, and I think you can move to that process. DocuSign obviously has become a big thing within the industry. Rather than having to email somebody something, have them print it out, sign it, scan it back in, return it, DocuSign is a godsend. So it's really helped move some deals along.
And it might even be easier. You know how sometimes people say, oh, I don't have time, just email me the quote. As much as we don't want to email the quote, sometimes we're almost kind of forced to, and then the ghosting process goes on. Maybe the virtual meeting can be used as, hey, I've got your quote ready. Let's set up a virtual meeting. I'll send you the quote in advance, and we can review it 5 minutes or 10 minutes after I send it to you, or I'm not going to send it to you. We're going to review it in a virtual meeting.
No, that makes so much sense, because I recently had a client that we're working on an upgrade, and I really wanted to get in with the client and meet him. It was somebody in a new position under the finance division, and I just wanted to meet them in person, but I couldn't. They were still not doing personal meetings. They would not do those. But the whole process is, when you create a proposal, you need to go over that proposal with the customer. I think it's paramount not to just throw them a piece of paper and let them assume everything on it. You have to break it down. You have to explain everything, the device, the CPC rates, what it covers. And I think it changes a lot of the perception of a proposal when you're allowed to do that. So I think that's a great idea. Look, I'm going to email this to you, but can we set up a short meeting, short WebEx? Just give me about 10 minutes, 15 to go over it with you. And then I think it makes the client feel like, versus having you in front of them, it's a little more of a security being on the other side of a camera versus in front of salesperson. I think there's a perception that it kind of still keeps them in control of the situation, but yet it allows us to do our job.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. So is there any certain product or solution that's hot for you right now?
A4. Okay. I know that's come up before. A4 is doing very well. From a cost standpoint, it's more attractive to a client versus an A3. And literally, there's only a few industries that are still using, A3 devices to their capacity for 11 by 17 or 12 by 18 paper. And again, paper cuts. To me, everybody really likes with the follow me printing capability, the ability to print from home to a device, at a workplace. Those are the strong points right now, and in my opinion, in our industry.
And that's why we like wide format.
Yes.
Because all accounts in the AEC industry still need 1117.
Correct. They still use it.
Yep.
And larger sizes, and it's a great industry to be in, because there aren't as many players.
That's correct. And
there aren't as many educated representatives out there that know the wide format industry, and you can figure that out very quickly. So can a customer.
Yep.
Very
and you always get the chance. I mean, you have a chance for multiple placements. So not only is it the wide format, it's the A3 device. It may be another A4 device in a construction trailer. It may be another wide format device in a construction site. There's always plenty of opportunities in that AEC industry.
100% correct. You work with them on a large format device. They're obviously using desktop printers. In most cases, they're using freestanding A3 devices, color, content management opportunities, managed services opportunities. We do mailing systems, postage meters. There's those opportunities. So yeah, it's the AEC industry is a great for a sales representative to get involved with, just because of what it can bring you from just one opportunity within a business.
And they still value technology.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Let's not forget whiteboards, interactive whiteboards.
Hey, so I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
It's not a fishing curveball.
Okay. I can talk some fishing with you now.
Oh, we could talk a lot of fishing. So if you could add one new feature to an MFP, what would you add?
Wow.
Told you it was going to be a curveball.
One new feature to an MFP. What would I add if I could add one new feature? I know somebody might say voice recognition. I've got enough problems with my Alexa at home recognizing things I say out of context. I think it would be nice to have some type of embedded reporting software built in, like an FM audit type thing that would come out of the box, so that we don't have to add that per se. But that's more of a convenience thing, from a really
Right.
game-changing feature function on a machine. Boy,
I got one for you.
I can't think of a specific.
Okay. Mine would be variable, or let's say a floating staple head.
Okay.
I could staple anywhere on a page that I want to, as many times as I want to. I mean, heck, it's a digital machine already. I could staple 2 on top. I could staple 2 on the bottom. I could staple 3 on the side. But more when you get into maybe some production aspects, right?
Right.
And people are using odd sizes of paper. It would be
Yes.
really, really cool if you could have that floating head and adjust where the staple is going to go for any size of paper that can run through the machine.
That would be interesting. Let me take an angle on that. I think it would be great to have stapling as a standard feature on any of the devices, sans desktop, because anytime you can add like a convenience stapler, like on a Canon A4, I can put a convenience stapler on the side of it. You slide the paper in, it punches it just like an automatic. I think if that were included or standard on a device, I've had people that are just like, oh, that is the neatest thing in the world. Floating staple head, I don't know how you would accomplish that with the technology. I don't know how you could make that
Digital.
work.
It's digital. It just rides a rail. Rides a rail, gets to a spot, tells it to staple.
I think it would be a game changer for the production industry for that size. Yeah,
So do I.
that would be a big deal.
So we're getting close. We're getting to nitty gritty. This is the last question.
Okay.
And what's one piece of knowledge that you'd like to share with new reps?
Be honest with your customers,
Cool.
almost to a fault. It may not get you every deal,
Yep.
but you can lay your head on a pillow at night knowing that you were upfront with that client, you were transparent, and it will really transfer into your career if you stay in this industry a long time.
and treat them or sell them how you want to be treated or sold.
Put yourself in their shoes.
Yep.
And say to yourself, I'm the customer. I'm presenting this to myself. Is this a good deal? Am I comfortable with it? Is this the right thing to do? If you can do that, you'll you know, you may not be the highest producing rep out there. You may not be the superstar, but I'll tell you what, people will remember it.
Cool.
And they'll remember that you're that type of person. You know, that would be it, man. Always take the customer side and review it for yourself before you try to push anything to them.
Cool. All right, John, that's it. I want to thank
All
you
right.
very much for your time. Everybody, we were here with John Anderson, and he's from Central Florida, and he is my wide format go-to guy. But John, thanks again, and we'll be I'm going to Florida in a couple of days, so I'll give you a buzz.
Give me a buzz when you're down here, and go Gators.
Thanks, John.
All right, thanks, Art.
All right, bye-bye.